There was a terrible Amtrak train derailment near Philadelphia, Pennsylvania last night, and at least 7 people are dead, and more than 140 are injured. And I fear that this tally of dead people specifically is going to continue to rise because overnight, after the crash happened, that number did continue to tick up. The immediate reports from the media were that 3 or 4 people died, then it became 5, then it became 6, now it's 7 as I'm coming live on air to you guys right now. So a lot of people are critically injured in the derailment. And in response to massive cuts in Amtrak pushed by Republicans, Democrats saw what happened with the crash, and specifically a Democratic politician from Pennsylvania stepped up and said, okay, this is a problem. There was just a massive train derailment and people died in my state. So, hey, would you mind if we do an increase in funding since we had this accident and clearly there are problems that need to be addressed? Even if this is a situation where, let's say there was speeding going on and it's almost like guaranteed the person was going too fast and there was going to be a derailment at that speed or whatever. Even in that situation, it is possible in the year 2015 to essentially build crash-proof trains in the sense that, you can have much higher safety standards. And, for example, in Japan, I think it is, they have high-speed rail, and it's much, much safer. So there's only like 400 ways in which you can improve the train system we have right now, and you could do a total upgrade if you just had the political motivation to do so. If the politicians just, wanted to do something about the infrastructure and cared about their constituents. So here we have a rare instance where a tragedy led to a Democratic politician saying, well, let's address this in some way. We don't even need to go all the way to high-speed rail. Let's not do this massive cut in funding. And just to give more specifics on that, the Republicans want to cut by 20%. They want to cut Amtrak funding by 20%. So what was the response from the right to this Democratic proposal? They said no. They said no. Not only do they not want to do an increase in funding for Amtrak after the accident, they don't even want to keep the funding at the same level as it was last year. They're still on board with that 20% cut. What more evidence do you need that we need to have a better infrastructure system? We have train derailments. Train derailments? That's like, I remember watching, and one happened recently closer to me in New York, not too long ago. But that's like, I was watching Anthony Bourdain's show on CNN a couple Sundays ago, and I forget where he was. It may have been India or somewhere like that, and there's this specific train that goes up a mountain that's like a really rugged mountain, and the tracks are really old. It's the infrastructure that was set up there from back when, the British colonized India, and the entire train ride was just bumps, and it's almost like he said, you can almost expect a train derailment because they drive too fast and this isn't safe at all. And I remember watching that thinking, well, a crazy, crazy second world, third world-like situation. Not like that here. No siree. And then, of course, directly after that, the New York train derailment happened, and now we have another one happening in Pennsylvania. Okay, that's a problem. We should probably address that. Any government that's functioning properly would look at that and say, yeah, maybe we can go back to the drawing board. But no, the Republicans are blocking that. So let me put this all in context for you. This is America's Total Infrastructure Report Card. This is from the recent analysis in 2013, the most recent analysis by the Civil Society of Engineers, who do this report card, I think, every 4 years. So are you ready for this? This is what our infrastructure, the current state of our infrastructure is like. Dams get a grade of D in America. Our dams get a D. Drinking water, D. Well, that's good. Hazardous waste, D. Levees, D. That one's really unsurprising because we know what happened with Katrina. Solid waste, oh, okay, here we at least have a decent grade. B. Wastewater, D. Aviation, D. Bridges, C+. Bridges, which are crumbling all over the place, we actually have a better grade there than we do in other areas. Inland waterways, D. Ports, C. Rail, it's actually one of the best, C+ for rail. So our rail sucks, but it's, still way better than other aspects of our infrastructure. Roads, D. Transit, D. Public parks and recreation, C. Schools, D. Energy, D+. The all-around grade for our infrastructure is D+. This is from a nation that always talks about how we are the number one nation. We lead the world, we're the world policemen, we export freedom and democracy is what we like to tell ourselves. Well, isn't that country supposed to lead by example? Aren't we supposed to be at a place where we look at our infrastructure and say, those assholes over in the Nordic countries or in Europe or in Australia, they got to catch up to us, man. I mean, we're so far ahead. We have such just a better infrastructure across the board. Our system of governance is just superior. Well, that's not the case. In fact, our government now pretty much only cares about the rich and the well-connected and the corporations. And that all goes back to the issue of corruption and money in the political system. And we just totally disregard our infrastructure to the point where there can be a fatal train derailment, and the Republicans not only don't want to increase funding to fix it, they don't even want to keep funding at the same levels. After a fatal train derailment, they still say, let's do a 20% cut in funding for that area. Well, that says it all, doesn't it?